Alrighty. Hello and welcome to the Full Send Half Mast Podcast, episode 37. We're here to talk about some racing. I'm here with Tom. How are you doing tonight, Tom?
Oh, baby. There's some drama in the air tonight, and I'm feeling it and ready to talk about it.
Yeah, there's some great stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit of news. We have reviews from the ARCA race at Salem. The Trucks and Cup were at Talladega. We can go over our Driver of the Week, Bonehead of the Week segments. We'll go over the Cup points heading into the Roval, which is the final race of the round of 12. Who's going to be eliminated? We'll talk about that here with you guys. And then we'll also go over the races this weekend. The Qatar Grand Prix for Formula One at Losail. We got Xfinity Cup, like I mentioned, at the Roval for both of their cutoff races, as well as the ARCA Series season finale at Toledo. The championship's wrapped up. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. Go over notable entries. And then we'll go over our driver fantasy for this week for NASCAR, as well as our radioactive of the week. And then a couple more things we want to talk about before we end the evening. But before we get going here, we're going to go over a quick word from our sponsor. W Energy Blends, introducing NeuroFactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides concentration with important aminos and vitamins without the crash that ordinary canned energy drinks just cannot provide. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack today, including 2 flavors and a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description of this video below and use promo code DAGABOYS for 10% off of your order. Thanks to Dubby for their continued support of the Boys Broadcasting channel. Alrighty, so let's start off here with a little bit of news. This week, NASCAR is kind of throwing we saw the IndyCar schedule come out. The IMSA schedule, World Endurance Championship, came out a couple months ago, but right now we're in the midst of the NASCAR schedule for 2024. They've been throwing some little hints at us. We got a couple announcements that I made last week on the podcast, but this week, North Wilkesboro is back for the All-Star race in 2024. What are your thoughts on Wilkesboro coming back?
I was really hoping we were going to get a points race. I don't know about you, but I was really hoping we were going to get a points race. Don't get me wrong, like, it's still cool, it's on the schedule. I was just really hoping for a points race.
Yeah, I agree. I was 100% open for a points race. The only thing is I'm saying, like I said with the Brickyard 400 when I made that video, is the NASCAR fans wanted this for so long. It's back, and now they're going to complain about it. I mean... Yeah. We're going to get another one of these all-star races that we got this year, and it's just going to die. And that's why I agree 100%. If we would have went to the points race aspect of this, I think it would have been a way better outcome. But, I mean, the fans got what they asked for, and then they're going to complain about it. So what are we going to do? I'm excited for it. I thought it was a great race.
I'm excited.
Old school 90s NASCAR style racing. It was awesome.
I'm still excited about it. I was just not really disappointed, to say, but... I guess I was expecting it to be a points race instead of the All-Star race. Because they did such a good job. Like, let's be honest. They rebuilt that facility pretty much from the ground up, except for the racing surface. And, you got some old school racing out of it. So,
yeah, I agree with everything you said.
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I'm excited. I'm excited for them to go back. I just, like you said, a little disappointed in our points race. But maybe we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe the fans will change their opinion on it. We can get a points race in 2025. We'll see. Also announced was Daniel Dye is going to McAnally Hilligman Racing in 2024 in the Truck Series. That's the team that currently Christian Eckes and Jake Garcia drive for. They didn't make it apparent if they were going to replace one of those drivers, if one of them was moving on to their contract. They didn't say if they're running a third truck, but that was what they announced. So we'll have to wait further for more information on that. If you were to speculate, do you think you think Christian Eckes may be moving on? You think maybe Jake Garcia is going to get a better ride? Do you think they're going to go 3 trucks? I mean, what are your thoughts here? Because I have no thoughts, man. I have no idea what's happening here.
I think it would be best for that team to go three trucks, right? Daniel can get some sponsorships. He's gotten sponsorships. With that team shutting down, it'd be kind of a no-brainer to move over those sponsorships. Yeah, I would expect a 3-truck team. I don't think it's a smart move to move on with Garcia, and I don't think it's a smart move to move on with Eckes. I think they're both pretty solid.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it'd just be weird to not see him in that 43 truck. I mean, there's been 43 in
Yeah, for
ARCA,
sure.
then in the truck series, late models even. I mean, it'll be really weird to see him not in the 43 colors or paint scheme or number design. And then another thing I want to talk about here before we move into kind of the Kevin Harvick stuff is also on the Cup schedule, 2024, they're doing Iowa. I think it's June 21st, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe June 20th. For the Cup Series going to Iowa. Thoughts?
Awesome. That's great. Right? I mean, we're talking about Cup going to Iowa, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So Xfinity has put on some great shows there, right? We've got some very NASCAR top 100 finishes there with Ricky Stenhouse and Carl Edwards coming across the line. Stenhouse blowing a motor and Carl Edwards running into the rear of him, crossing the start finish. I mean, but I think Xfinity has put great races on there. I think it's a great move to move Iowa on the schedule. But I mean, there's a lot of complications that come with it, right? We lose Auto Club, we lose Road America, you know. But nonetheless, a step in the right direction. I mean, we're 2 steps back, 1 step forward at the moment, but still, let's look at the progress a little bit here. I think that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a little bit different flavor. I mean, it's still short track racing. It's in a new market with Iowa. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, we lost Fontana, Chicagoland over the last few years, Road America, 3 of the best racetracks for Cup cars that we've had. I mean, and they're gone, so it's unfortunate, but we're getting Iowa. Maybe I don't know. There was some reports they wanted to go to Montreal. That didn't work out, so I feel like this was kind of their plan G, I guess. Moving down the letters here.
But let's be a little honest here. Like, Iowa needed a spot 5 years ago.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's
shocking. Even longer than that.
Yeah.
More like 10 years ago. They really needed a spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially considering that that's like dirt track country right there in the Midwest. I mean, get your eyes on some like real Cup racing at Iowa. I feel like that's going to be a big win for that market in that area. So I think it's a good business move. But whether this car runs good there or not, we'll have to wait and see. But that'll be exciting. I'll be tuned in for sure. Also, I don't know how true this is. I read this just yesterday. Erebus Motorsports, they're a team in the V8 Supercars, reported that they are going to be making starts in Cup Series next year with an alliance with RCR, potential Brody Kostecki making some starts for them because that's who he races for in the V8 Supercars. I mean, I think it's great if this is true because that's more teams to our sport. But the problem is, if they don't get a charter, they're kind of just wasting money. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. It's great for the growth aspect of NASCAR, but they've really shot themselves in the foot with this charter system. So it almost like it's a detriment for somebody to come into the Cup Series now. It's honestly sad. I know we beat this dead horse 100 billion trillion times. I know we have, but it's just a sad situation. We've got international people wanting to come in and make a difference in NASCAR, and they can't.
Yeah, without spending bankrupt. A ton of money to.
But it's not even that, Jay. It's the availability of the charter. There's no availability, and NASCAR is not wanting to expand their roster. Mm-mm. What kind of business move is that?
Yeah, if you want to have 40 cars every week, why not? Like, what I think they should do, if they want to keep the charter system, which I feel like they're kind of backed into a corner, there's no way they can abolish it. NASCAR's not going to go spend the money to abolish it. Why not increase the charters up to 40 and then put, like, an incentive for these teams where if they do, like, say with this Erebus Motorsports, they want to come to their sport, why not NASCAR pay half of it up front and then put them on a payment plan where they can pay it off in 5 years, the rest of the amount owed, and then increase it to 40 charters and then increase the field size back to 43 or 44 even, you know? I mean,
yeah,
for open teams.
It's also junior motorsports because Dale Jr. has said multiple times he wants to go Cup racing, but he can't. It's not feasible because of the charter system. and how much a charter costs and getting in there at the right time and outbidding each other, etc., etc. It's just it's not new team friendly.
Yeah, it's not.
It's insane.
And then you got to look at the whole BJ McLeod Motorsports or Live Fast Racing thing too. Is they had NASCAR puts you in a bind because they handcuff you and say if you don't do good for 3 years, we could just take your charter and you have no value for it. So then it forces a BJ McLeod who's been grinding trying to make his team better. Now he's forced to sell, or he'll lose it with no value. So you got to take the paycheck and run with the money.
Yep.
And now you're going to be racing the next however long he continues in the Cup Series with his team for pennies on the dollar. I mean, it's just a really flawed system, and I feel like NASCAR's backed themselves in a corner. The value of these charters now and the interest in the sport that they own it. Big Daddy NASCAR. They've got complete control of this situation. So exciting news on one front, but then it's kind of a double-edged sword. So also. Here we got Meyer Shank is going to be out of IMSA in 2024. They're not going to be running, but they didn't say they are permanently going to be out of IMSA. They are going to be out for 2024, maybe 2025, and then come back later, is their hope. Do you think this has anything to do with potential IndyCar increase?
I don't know. I think anything's possible. Well, let's take it back to the first race of the year, right? Did they lose their little alliance there with Honda? I mean, because Honda ratted them out. Like, let's be honest here, So maybe they just lost, that friendship that they had with Honda, and they couldn't secure something for 24, and maybe they're trying to secure something for 25.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I didn't really put that together, but yeah, that's a great point. I guess the biggest tragedy here though is they've got two world-class drivers. I mean, Colin Braun and Tom Blomqvist are exceptional race car drivers, and now with maybe BMW looking for more drivers for the World Endurance Championship next year, Alpine's out there searching, Lamborghini is out here looking. Maybe they can find their way over to a different manufacturer. So I guess if this is the case for Meyer Shank, it's a big loss for their driver lineup for Honda. But then again, you also have Wayne Taylor Racing expanding to 2 GTP cars next year. So maybe they've got Jordan Taylor confirmed for 1. So maybe they bring in the Tom Blomqvist or the Colin Braun, keep them under the Acura banner. Some weird, interesting stuff's going to happen over the next couple months here for IMSA, for sure. We're going to get a lot more driver lineup news, for sure. I mean, is that what you're expecting? That's 100% what I'm expecting.
The silly season's going to be crazy with these guys, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. We're going to be reporting it every week here, especially during the offseason. This offseason is going to be wild. I feel like we haven't even gotten a quarter of all this silly season stuff out of the way yet in any of these series. We got a lot to figure out here. And then also, you had one more thing here.
Yeah, dude. Andretti Cadillac got their FIA approval for an F1 team.
Yes, so
now
big win.
Huge win. Huge win, because that's like the rich boys club, and they're in it. That's awesome. They're in the process now of doing a couple of last step things, and then then they're gonna have a full-fledged effort into F1, which is gonna be pretty cool. But I think it's for 2026. When the new packages come out. The updated hybrid motors. So, it's still going to be a little bit before we see Andretti on track, but it's going to happen. And, they beat out like 3 other teams, the biggest one being Rodden.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which
is crazy.
I mean, I think that's a smart move by going to 2026, though. There's no reason to jump in this modern era car and try to compete now with where Red Bull and Ferrari have been. I just let it sink in for a second, though. General Motors with Andretti name going to Formula One to compete against the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Aston Martin. I mean, McLaren. Wow. We are in a great time for racing right now.
Yeah, honestly, all American racing enthusiasts can get behind that, and that's something that we haven't had in a long time, pretty much since Ford left.
Yeah. I mean, we get a little bit of it with Haas, but I mean, it's it's not like it's
Yeah, but
General Motors, you know, like
yeah, but their factory is in England.
yeah,
You know, and then they have their little what do you call it, satellite HQ in Kannapolis, which they don't do a freaking thing there. You know, they don't do anything there. All of their machining and car building and engineering's in the UK, and you know they all hyped us up that it's our first US team in 40 some years. You know. But, and I'm not saying Andretti's going to be US based either. I'm just saying that, like, Andretti, American, a full-fledged, long history, racing history American with GM, which is part of the big three here in the States, which is, it's huge.
it's very huge. Yeah, it's something to admire and appreciate, for sure.
Yes.
All right, one more little bit of news here. This weekend, we know Kevin Hart finished P2 in the Cup race at Talladega. Unfortunate, though, he failed post-race tech and got disqualified at Talladega. It was windshield screws that they didn't thread in. They just put, like, Loctite or something on them, just set them in there, glued them in. Silicone. Yeah.
It's normal. They put that blue high-temp silicone on the bolts, screwed in there. But what's really funny about this whole thing, Jay, is that after the race, after they got DQ'd, Rodney Childers put that tweet out there saying that they just vibrated out. You know, even the guys, they put a layer of silicone across the top of the bolt, which is kind of weird, right? Like, can't you gain an advantage over that? Because of, you know, the countersinks are never perfect on those bolts, right? So sometimes you might get a little deviation when screwing in the bolts. Well, hey, by the way, NASCAR, we didn't just have a loose bolt, but we covered some holes with some silicone. And then he deleted the tweet.
Yeah, I mean, clown.
I think we're missing the big picture here. Okay, whatever. They got a loose bolt, but what are they doing to those windshield screws trying to gain an aerodynamic advantage there?
Yeah, it's weird, right? I mean, we heard of this before.
And then who's the tech that thought, I'm going to take a wrench to all of these windshield bolts to see if they're tight? Who does that?
Inside, dude. It's inside stuff, man.
It is. It has to be.
Tinfoil hats are coming out now.
It has to be. I've been thinking about this all day, and I'm like, okay, so some NASCAR tech guy was like, I'm going to go and check these windshield bolts. And then on top of that, he's like, okay, this one's backed out, so you're disqualified. What? Oh, okay. And then the crew chief goes on Twitter and says, we even put a layer of silicone over the belt. Just completely admitting a different crime, right? And then nobody bats an eye at that. I mean, it's crazy. What? Did NASCAR not even see that? I mean, not even the tech inspector saw that. All he said, it's got a loose bolt right there. Instead of just looking at the freaking bolt, looking that there's silicone over the head of it. That's insane. Am I the only one?
No, what makes it better is that Stewart Austin Racing a few hours later announced that they weren't going to appeal it either. That's the icing on the cake.
Look. All right, so now we open a big can of worms here.
Yeah,
a huge can, right? Because we've never had a penalty, a driver getting DQ'd over windshield bolts. Never. It's never happened. Harvick is the first. So every racetrack now, are all the drivers going to get checked?
No.
Or not drivers, all the cars going to get checked for loose hood or loose windshield bolts? Or if they're putting silicone over the bolts? Because that's what I should be expecting, right? All that... look, that's an advantage. Even if it's like a 0.1% increase in aerodynamic performance, to do that, these teams are going to do it. I mean, it's one of the most simple things you can do to try and gain an advantage over your competitor. Why wouldn't you do it? Right?
Well, I mean, like you said with the can of worms, I mean, what else are they going to start checking? I mean, if they're going to go check windshield
all the seams in the car. All the seams.
Yeah.
You have to now.
Yeah.
You open the can of worms.
Yeah. That's like letting AI out of the box, man. You can't get it back in now. You've committed, NASCAR. You're in it now for the long game.
Yeah, well, that's what's crazy to me. Everybody's talking about the loose bolt, but nobody's talking about the silicone over the head of the bolt.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy to me.
That is pretty crazy. Yeah, like what? Yeah, like I mean, you could say something on Twitter and get sent to sensitivity training, but if you tweet something about how you cheated and then how you over double cheated, now you're not even going to get looked into. It's just a weird scenario, man. It's just it's NASCAR at its finest right there. I love it. It's great. Let's keep having more of this. Let's keep just teching everything.
Oh my.
Alrighty. Well, that's the news. We'll go over the races this weekend. We'll start with the ARCA race, the Atlas 200. Before this race, all Jesse Love had to do was start this race, take the green flag, and he was the champion for the ARCA series this year. We've noted it week after week how dominant he's been this season. Not only does he just have to start the race, he qualifies on pole. He does what he does best. The notable stuff in this race, on lap 29, Frankie Muniz, more issues. I mean, the car reliability, where are they getting these cars from Frankie Muniz? Are they pulling them out of a junkyard? Who's working on these things, man? Every damn week something's wrong with his car. It's sad. It's sad, man. It's like Joe Schmo Auto Body, man. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, he's had sponsor problems throughout the whole year, so that they're just recycling parts at this point. They have to be. They're not getting any monies in. That's I don't know.
But it's like it doesn't matter if it's lap 1 or lap 95. They're gonna have an issue pop up. I mean, who's testing these parts? Who's who's quality control on this car? Nobody. I mean, that's the problem. Nobody. I mean. There's lots of teams that use reused and recycled parts. They don't have near the amount of problems and issues that this team has. It's crazy.
But they have MagTech machines. They can check for stress fractures and cracks and all that. I guarantee you the team that Muniz is driving for, they'd have to send that out to a third party and get it checked, and that's money and time that they don't have.
Yeah, but I
guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's to the point where it's not even just part issues and braking. It's like just getting the ECU unit to work or getting the fuel injection system to work. I mean, everything's just falling apart. It doesn't matter what it is. Can't even get the thing in gear. Rear end's falling out of the car. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
It's a terrible turnaround from the beginning of the season when he was leading the points, and now he's nowhere.
Yeah. He was running top 5s, top 10s every week.
He was running great.
He was looking like he was going to progress to a potential victory later on in the season, and it just, it's too bad. I hope that he gets another opportunity next year, finds a new team, and gives another good try at ARCA, because I feel like he has talent. You could see the talent there. I mean, he's a quick adapter, and I think if he just got the right scenario, I think he could do something here in the ARCA series. And then the other incident here was lap 65. Brent Cruz crashed. Just a real tough race for him. Still learning. I think he's only 15. He's more of a road racer, so coming into the Cup Series or into the ARCA series and doing the best he can. He does have that win this season, so this wasn't a terrible season to hang your head on. But and then Swalich also had some issues later in this race that kind of took him out of contention. It was him and Jesse Love battling, but Jesse Love wins the race, and like I said, claims the championship right when they took the green. And phenomenal season. They got one more race this weekend, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And fun note here, there's only 3 cars that finished on lead lap. So that's just how blistering fast Jesse Love was there at Salem. Pretty damn impressive season he's had. Truck racing next year? I would say so. I would say so. All right. And then now we'll talk about the Truck Series race. This is where the drama for the weekend really kind of begins. The Love's RV Stop 250 on Saturday. We saw Chase Purdy qualify on pole. Nick Sanchez wins a pretty uneventful stage 1. And then the drama starts, right? Zane Smith. I'll let you talk about this here in a second, Tom, because you brought up a really good point on this, and I 100% agree with you. Zane Smith coming onto pit lane for the first pit stop of the day, spins out, and just KOs his tire carrier. I mean, what the thud this guy took was just crazy. Destroyed the whole right side of the truck in progress. Heads up move by this guy, though. He's carrying the tire. He's got it held by the hand. And when you hold those tires, you carry it right inside the rim, and you kind of put your hand like where the lug holes are, because when you go to dex it onto the tire, you got to adjust it and get it right there to line up on the lugs. And so what he did if he would have been holding onto that tire, he probably would have snapped his wrist, in my opinion. Because I mean, the truck would have hit the tire, snapped his wrist. He did a heads up play, set that thing down like a frisbee right on the ground, and then just kind of dove into it and took the spoiler right on the chin, and then bounced back and finished the day off like a champion. But how did this happen, Tom? Explain this to everybody that doesn't understand this.
So, right. So what I'm suspecting what happened here is usually like when you're super speedway driving, you got a lot of rear brake in it because, when you're getting a run, you can drag the brakes a little bit and, all is fine. Usually, you have a lot more stopping force on the front end of the vehicle than you do on the rear end of the vehicle. So they kind of use that as a catalyst. Now, when you're going down pit road, especially during green flag pit stops, you actually see this a lot in the Cup Series. But you'll see drivers go way deep in there, and then they just lose the rear end, and then they spin out. And what happens is, and actually, when I was working in the Truck Series, what our driver did at one time, he was coming in into the pits during green flag pit stops. He forgot to change the brake bias, so he slammed on the brakes. The truck turned around and slammed, 40 different cars at the time. It was crazy. But that's what I'm kind of suspecting what happened with Zane here, but they were under caution, right? So they were they were coming down pit road under a caution. So there was no high speed entrance. It was just normal pace speed. And then when he saw his pit box, he kind of maybe panicked a little bit, slammed on the brakes, and it whipped that truck sideways, and his tire carrier was already in the middle of the pit box. He had nowhere to go. That's what I expect happened, or suspect that happened. I'm not saying that is what happened, but I mean, we've all seen it 100 times,
But regardless of our theory or what really happened, I mean, spinning out on pit lane under a caution with no help.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Especially when you're a championship truck driver, dude. Bonehead move of the week. Unfortunate there for Zane Smith. I think it's the first time he's made it this year, and I don't think he'll make it very often. He's got a lot of talent. So this week, yep, just boneheaded move, man. You're nominated. And then we had a caution on lap 39. This is kind of the beginning of a lot of really bad wrecks in this race. Stuart Friesen, lap 39, multi-car crash. I think Tyler Ingram was in it. A couple other guys took a very hard hit into the wall. Ended his race. Led to the end of stage 2, which Parker Kligerman ends up taking stage 2. That was my favorite pick for the weekend, just by the way. And then after that, after stage 2, we just had that one wreck and that Zane Smith incident, and then it just chaos ensued from there. Caution on lap 52, Ankrum and Enfinger and multiple others wreck. Another one on lap 59 with Tyler Hill and Bailey Curry crashing. And at 23 to go, we saw it. This was crazy. I've never seen this happen before. He had a little bit of damage, Jack Wood did. And going down the backstretch, his hood just disintegrated, dude, into 1,000 pieces. It was the craziest thing, man. It was insane. So they had to call a caution for debris on that. And then, like I said, just the continuing theme. We had another caution with 15 to go with Raja and Vargas crashing. 10 to go, Chase Purdy, Howard, others crash. And then this is where the drama starts. All right, so 3 laps to go, coming to get the 2 to go at the line. We had a 3-wide situation. Matt Crafton's up on the outside. Nick Sanchez is kind of in the middle lane. And to me, it just appeared that they both kind of came into each other, caused a big accordion wreck, and then drama from there, right? I mean, that's how I see the wreck, right? Matt Crafton and Nick Sanchez kind of just came together. Is that how you see it? Do you see it different than the way I see it? It's just a racing incident?
Yeah, absolutely. I see it the same way that Ross Chastain had that little incident that he had with Lyle Gregson in Talladega 1. Chastain saw an opening, he went for it, and Lyle didn't have enough time to close the door. And that's honestly the same thing that happened. I mean, just it's one of those things, man. It's super speedway racing, right?
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. And then after the race, I'll talk about the winner here in a second, but after the race, Nick Sanchez is walking, in his words, walking back to his hauler and gets cheap shotted by Matt Crafton. I'm sure everybody's seen the video, the footage, bloody eyes on Nick Sanchez, some expletives that we probably shouldn't share here today on YouTube. I guess where I'm going with this Nick Sanchez, Matt Crafton drama is, I guess, two things. First off, we watched a little clip from Door Bumper Clear, and I'm just gonna be honest. Freddie Kraft and Brett Griffin, they've showed no substance to the sport of racing. These guys call for just the weirdest, dumbest takes, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel. You guys probably love them. You probably appreciate their opinions. I think they're absolutely dumb. We're arguing over this incident for what was it? We watched a video for 5 minutes, and they were just arguing about what a sucker punch and a cheap shot was. Not about what happened or the incident or anything. Just purely discussing this cheap shot situation. I don't know what to think about this whole fight thing. I do know what to think about this. We've said it several times on this channel this season alone. Driver boxing, man. Where's the damn driver boxing? You're gonna fine these guys money for fighting in the pits, right? Who's wrong, who's right, doesn't matter, right? Throw that right out the window. It's the whole point that they fought, and now you're gonna fine them for it. Why can't we do damn driver boxing? If Matt Crafton's got a problem with Nick Sanchez, or vice versa, let's go to a NASCAR official. Let's go settle this like men, and let's throw some damn gloves on, and let's go fight. And let's televise this damn thing and get it over with now. No fines involved. Maybe a little bit of hurt feelings, but then nobody's bloody. Nobody's screaming, yelling. It's not going to bleed over to Homestead like Nick Sanchez precursored. I mean, am I on point here with this thought? I mean,
yeah, because what's the point in a fight when you go and just blindside somebody? You know? Nick didn't have anything to stand on right there. He just got blindsided. And I tend to believe Nick over Matt with his tweet that he put out on Twitter, claiming that words were exchanged and it was civil at first and then it got heated and then there was warnings and he didn't abide. So then I just punched him in the face. I don't think that happened. I think that I truly believe Nick got blindsided. Because this truly, I mean, it's not their first incident on track all year, right? They've been door banging and rubbing all year long. There's not a single incident I can point out to you at this moment, but we all know that there was a little rivalry there going on. And Matt Crafton knew that, he's a veteran of the series, and he felt the need to go and punch a dude in the face to stroke his ego. Honestly, that's all what this is about, is stroking his own ego. And so I tend to believe Nick. And honestly, and in this whole thing right here, why would Nick, in this whole situation here, why would Nick purposely try to wreck himself?
He's got everything to lose. He's in the playoffs still.
Exactly. My freaking point here is that Crafton is just out there racing for wins at this point. Second places don't mean anything to him because he's not in the championship, right? Nick is. Why would Nick purposefully go out there and try and rough up the field like that? The answer is he doesn't, and he did it. He made a racer's move. Crafton got butthurt, and he came over and blindsided him, going down pit lane in civilian clothes, by the way, not even in his suit or anything.
Next point. Yep.
He just blindsided him.
Yeah, that leads me to my next point: is Nick Sanchez still in his racing gear? He had no intention of fighting, in my opinion, because if you were still in your racing gear, he's probably heading to his hauler to go change, getting into normal clothes. Matt Crafton, sitting in normal clothes, he had time to go change, think about it, and then act on it. Nick Sanchez is coming back to his hauler to change to go home. So whatever Matt Crafton says, I don't believe, because if Nick Sanchez wanted to fight, he would have been done in the hauler, changed, got ready to go fight him. And that's what Crafton did.
Yeah. He went to his trailer, changed, let it fester, and then blew up. That's what he did. There was no exchange of words.
Mm-mm.
There wasn't. It didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, I feel like all these drivers go through this stage some point towards the end of their career, and Matt Crafton's in that stage. He's just lost it.
Yeah.
And you got another guy who's early 20s out here trying to win truck races, competing for a championship, and then he let something that does... At the end of the day, man, You finish second place at Talladega, or you wreck trying to win. For Crafton, it means nothing. Nick Sanchez has the world to lose here. So why would Nick Sanchez want to start something with someone not racing him for the championship? So
yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a sucker punch, cheap shot, whatever the hell you want to call it. Shouldn't happen. And if Matt Crafton had an issue, he should have went to a NASCAR official, said, "Let's get some boxing gloves out. Bring Nick over here. Let's duke this out like men, and let's settle it now and here and there." But fortunately, now they both get fined, and now it's gonna fester on to Homestead. Hopefully, it doesn't.
And that's
the biggest
BS
problem.
too.
That is the ultimate problem right there. Is it's gonna bleed over to a future week. So. All right. Well, and then to summarize the rest of this race, we had a green white checker finish at the end here. Brett Moffitt ends up winning in an overtime finish. My dark horse picked him, called it. Front Row Motorsports. They got the dub in the Truck Series. Huge win for him. Big mistake by Christian Eckes. We saw this in the Cup race. I'll talk more about it with the way the racing was. But he decided to make a really bad block there in turns 2, I believe it was, or maybe it's turn 1 on the last lap, and stacked up the outside line, and they all just freight trained him. He went from, if he would have just stayed down on the bottom and ran his line, he probably would have came home. He probably wouldn't have won the race, but he was still great points day, top 5 easily. Instead, he goes to the back of the line, finishes like 20th. Killed his championship hopes. 100% for making a block that he didn't need to make. I mean, when you're racing for a championship, yes, a win locks you in. Great stuff. But when he's as close in making the end of the next round as he is, there's no reason to go take a 3rd place and turn it to 20th. Just take your 3rd place and go home, move on to Homestead, go run good there. You're in the championship 4. Now I don't think he's going to make it. I don't. I think he's done. So, bad move there. All right, now we'll talk about the Cup race, the Yellowwood 500. Before we get into this, I just want to say this was an amazing race, and we'll talk a little bit about it as we go through it. We saw Eric Almirola qualifying pole. The Fords were real fast in qualifying. Stage 1 was super clean, not any issues until the last lap when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. runs out of gas on the backstretch. I mean, Ricky Stenhouse, man, doing Ricky Stenhouse things, and then Chastain tries to split the middle, checked up Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch just struggled to get stage points. I'm just don't even know what to say about Kyle Busch right now. Wrong place, wrong time. He's just having a terrible playoffs, man. It's just unfortunate. But Chastain tried to shoot the middle, gets tagged by, I think it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr., tagged him in the right rear, turned him in the wall, ended Chastain's day. Christopher Bell got a good amount of damage from that, kind of hurt him for the rest of the day. And like I said, took Kyle Busch out of stage points, and Blaney ultimately wins stage 1. And then our next bonehead move of the week nominee here is Denny Hamlin. Second stage, green flag pit stops, speeding penalty. Speeding penalty. What does Denny Hamlin do the best at? Making mistakes on pit road. This guy is notorious for this, man. This is why, leading up to the championship, here we are. This is another reason why he's not going to win the damn championship. You do this at Phoenix in stage 2, you're done, man. You're done. That's a 300-lap race at Phoenix for the championship. You get a speeding penalty stage 2, you're not coming back from that. You're done, man. You're done. Championship gone. Hopes are destroyed. That's why he's not winning a championship. This guy can't not make mistakes. I mean, what is he doing? Why? You gain no advantage by speeding on Talladega pit lane. You got to blend in with your teammates you pit with. I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
Me neither.
I don't get it. I don't get it. So that ultimately takes him out of the race, right? You're done.
He's my pick for the championship just because I think he's still gonna win it. But I mean, I think on a lighter note, I think it's just hilarious because we really need to pull up the list of speeding penalties over the year, because I'm pretty sure Denny Hamlin has a double-digit advantage over second place.
That needs to be a damn stat line. Like right up there, you got wins, top 5s, poles, top 10s, speeding penalties.
Speeding penalties.
I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, if you look in the last 10 years, this dude's probably got over 100 speeding penalties in the last 10 years of his career. I mean, he gets, I would say, probably an average of 15. This needs to be a Vegas betting odd, man. Like, you're over for speeding penalties for the season. I'm taking the over on whatever they put Denny Hamlin at. I mean, this guy, he's guaranteed at least once every 2 races to be speeding on pit lane. And the race we were watching, there was not a lot of cautions. We just had that one caution that was the end of the stage anyway, so it was going to be a caution regardless. So there was no caution there. Stage 2 had no cautions. After this pit road speeding penalty for Hamlin, he's a lap down. End of stage 2, he's trying to race for the free pass, doesn't get it because Cindric beat him to the line, gets the free pass. So Denny Hamlin's starting stage 3 with no stage cautions to come, still a lap down. Fortunate for him, though, we had a caution on lap 162. This was really the only major wreck of the race. Was a pretty big wreck. Hostafar and Keselowski were racing up on the outside line. Hostafar, I believe, turned Keselowski into the wall. Then collected a few more, like Austin Dillon, a couple other guys were involved, and really killed Keselowski's chances here. We'll talk about this more in a minute when we give our predictions for who's going to get eliminated at the Roval, but really bad luck here for Keselowski. I picked him to win this race. I really was confident that he was going to do it, and had a fast car. He wins stage 2, gets stuck back in traffic, and then just unfortunately gets involved in the wreck. And then that gave Denny Hamlin the lead lap back, but then he's got to start in the back and drive way through the field. Not a lot of laps to go in the race. I think it was only like 20 laps to go, something like that at this time. And saw great racing, right? This is what I want to talk about next, Tom. The last 2 plate races have been just freaking awesome, man. Daytona for the season finale, one of the best plate races we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. This race, I think it was even better than the Daytona race. I mean, this was a great race. We saw lots of runs develop, and then what I really appreciated about this race, and I feel like the driver mentality is kind of evolving here, because Logano, I feel like, was the guy that started this whole bad block business, right? Logano was the first one that was the guy that would just go out and make terrible blocks trying to defend the lead, and he would stack up the field. It cost him a lot of wins, cost a lot of other people wins. In this race, we didn't see that. We saw people get runs on others, and they would just stay in their line. They wouldn't go through a bad block, and ultimately, by doing that, it came back around for them. Another lap later, they were back in the lead because they didn't bail on the line to make a bad block and then stack up the field. They just stayed in their line. They got past, let a couple guys go by, and then they just built that run, momentum back up, went back up to the lead. I mean, is this like an evolved, like something we should appreciate? Because I enjoyed it. I thought that was way better racing than these terrible late blocks.
Yeah, and I want to add to that too. That third lane was doing something too, and in years prior we didn't see that at all. So I could appreciate the 3 wide racing that was happening there. The mentality of the drivers have changed for sure, and you could tell by the on-track action that was happening in the cup race. I think that it was a great race, and I just wish that maybe we could have had some of the drama from the Truck Series bleed over to the Cup Series.
Yeah. Well, we kind of did with the post race with Harvick, but I mean, we didn't get a lot of the drama in the mid race. Yeah. I mean, besides Ricky running out of gas, and then the Harvick disqualification, and then the Hamlin speeding penalty. That's about as much drama as we got out of this race. But it was. I thought it was a great race. I thought it was one of the better races of the year for sure.
Good.
The first Talladega race wasn't as great because for some reason they weren't able to make that outside line work. Here they did. It was amazing, and the runs developed a lot faster. They weren't choppy runs either, where it was like you got to run and then it stalled out. Like if you got to run, you carried it through, and the mentality of these drivers changed, which made it a good race. We didn't see a freaking wreck fest where people are making 10 bad blocks in a row like Bubba Wallace did to Ryan Blaney there at the first one. So good stuff. And then Blaney wins, photo finish. Ryan Blaney makes it to round 8. I mean, who would have thought that, man? Holy cow. We had him out first round, second round, me and you. I mean, unreal. I did not expect that from Blaney. That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, yeah, it is crazy. All right, well, we'll go through the driver of the week, bonehead of the week, and then we'll go over the point standings going in the Roval and who we think is going to advance and not advance. So, drivers of the week, I'm going to nominate Daniel Dye, P6 in the trucks. Survived the whole day, ran mid-pack, didn't have any issues. Great run for him. Christian Rose in ARCA. Like I said, there was only 3 guys that finished on lead lap. He was one of them and ran phenomenal. Andres Perez was the other one, finished P2, which I'll talk about that more here when we preview the ARCA race this weekend. And then Justin Haley, P6 in the Cup. Clean race. Did nothing wrong. Did exactly what he needed to do. Get a good run. Kind of finishing out his year in colleague. He's kind of in the lull right now, right? Because he's got a new ride lined up next year. Not much to race for, but to get a P6 at Talladega, avoid all the carnage and put yourself in position. Great race for him. And then Boneheads of the Week. I'm going to nominate Matt Crafton for his whole issue with the trucks. And then we'll nominate Zane Smith for just absolutely failing, getting on pit road and hitting his crew member. And then Denny Hamlin, the speeding king. I mean, I wonder how many speeding tickets he has on with his streetcar on the roads. I mean,
that's a good question, actually.
This guy, man, just ridiculous. Nothing to gain, everything to lose. Just risks it all for that. That's fun. All right, we'll go over the Cup points going into the Roval. Right now, sitting 9th in points is Tyler Reddick, 2 points back from the cut line. Chastain's 9 back, Bubba's 9 back, and then Busch is 26 back. All right. Before we do our race predictions later on, who do you think doesn't make out of these 4 drivers? Which one do you think has the best chance of advancing to the next round?
Best chance, Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick, I would agree.
Yeah.
It's the Roval.
Yep.
He's got the least amount of points behind the debt, and he's so good at these races. Who's your sleeper that could potentially make the round out of these 4 that are
out? You know what? I'm a huge, or not a huge. I'm a Chastain fan. But I'm gonna have to go with Bubba. I think he's a sleeper here. Look, he's had great performances here at the Roval, and you know that 23 car has really, you know, kind of come to life at the end of this season. You know, he sneaked by in the round of 18 to get into the round of 12. But nonetheless, I still think that Bubba has a great chance at the Roval to get something done. Now, my biggest fear with Bubba is that he's going to get in his own head and he's going to prove me wrong. Because that's his biggest enemy right there. But nonetheless, if he could get it done, he will get a good finish at the Roval. And I think he is the sleeper.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Bubba Wallace and everything that you just said. The one that I'm the most, I want to say, because I picked him to make my Final Four. I really did. I thought he was going to really do good stuff this year.
Me too.
Kyle Busch, man, 26 points down, and something's going to happen to him at the Roval. It's just the theme of his season, man. If something doesn't go wrong, I will be shocked. So, could he win the Roval? Oh, yeah, without a doubt, he could walk off with a win at the Roval. There's nobody that should ever question Kyle Busch in a clutch moment like this. But will his car hold together? Will bad luck not strike? That's the question. So, we'll have to see. What's one person in the playoffs right now, currently locked in, that you think could potentially go out? Me personally, I think it's Christopher Bell. He's kind of in the same boat Kyle Busch is. He's kind of just scraping along at this point, man. Gets collision at Talladega, somehow salvages it. He salvages what was the first race of the round at goodness gracious, Texas. Had issues at Texas and survived there. If he has that happen again this weekend, I feel like he's out. I feel like he's out, and I feel like Bell's like the one guy I can't figure out, man. It's like he'll have trouble and somehow still recover and run well. But then if he has the wrong amount of trouble, he's done. So I don't know how much stock to put in Christopher Bell this year.
You know, I find it hard that Christopher Bell could lose over 22 points to find himself the first cutoff driver. I don't know. Look, anything can happen, right? I mean, we're almost throwing darts at a board with blindfolds on, right? But, you know, I really think that if it is anybody, it's going to be Truex.
Wow. Damn.
That's a hot take.
That is
because,
a hot take.
Look. Truex has ran great here, but it's hit and miss. Like, that one year that him and Johnson... wasn't it the first year the Roval was here?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. 17? 18?
Yeah, 17, yeah. I think it was 17.
So, he was freaking dominant, and then when else have we seen him dominate the Roval?
That's true.
I don't think there has been another time where Truex has dominated that race. And, you know, he does have the Sonoma win this year, and that was a huge win for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that was a huge statement, too, right? I mean, it was pure dominance out of that 19 car, but I don't have the confidence. I'm going to say, hot take, Martin Truex Jr. will be the one driver outside of the cutoff to lose it.
There you go. Well, there you have it. We'll just have to wait and see this weekend, right? Round 8 is all approaching, and one more race to do it. And we've seen some crazy Roval races. I mean, I don't expect anything different here. All right, so this weekend, we'll preview the races. We have the Formula One Grand Prix at Qatar at Losail International, Xfinity Cup at the Roval, like I mentioned, and then the ARCA Series finale at Toledo. Notable entries in the Xfinity Series. Jordan Taylor is going to be in the number 11 Colleague All-Star car. Boris said, quote-unquote, final NASCAR start. Hint, hint. Probably not, but he said that. For the number 17 HMS car. I think he's 61 years old. I mean, this better be his last damn start. I mean, that's almost elderly abuse at that point. All right, and then Trevor Bayne in the number 19 JGR car. This might not be 100% confirmed. This is just what they had on the entry list that I saw. And then Rajah Caruth, again, 44 Alpha Prime. Tom's favorite driver here, Cooter Daly.
Cooter.
In the old
Cooter.
53 Emerling Gase car. Sage Karam, very capable driver in the number 66 MBM car. I mean, I feel like equipment's going to be lacking there. And then Andy Lally in the number 87 Peterson Racing Machine. In the Cup Series, we got Andy Lally returning in the number 15 Rickroy Racing car. Zane Smith will be in the 38 Front Row car this weekend. Mike Rockenfeller back with Legacy Motor Club in the 42. Todd Gilliland over in the 51 Rickroy Racing car. Austin Hill in the 62 Beard, and then Balicki in the number 78 Live Fast. And then for F1, Liam Lawson. He's back in the AlphaTauri for Daniel Ricciardo, who's still recovering from his wrist injury. Alrighty.
Why did they put Rockenfeller in over Hocevar?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't. It is what it is.
That's insane. That's that buddy crap that he has with
Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson. Huh?
Him and Jimmy Johnson are.
It is. Like it is.
Dude.
Yep.
They went and ran Le Mans together, man. They're 24-hour buddies. They both
the Le Mans. Look, we gonna park our Winnebagos there next year.
They both peed in the same driver's seats. They're bonded for life. Alrighty, well, you ready to make some picks? We'll start with the ARCA race, the Shore Lunch 200 presented by CGS Imaging. Final race of the season for ARCA. Sad news, another series ending. Getting to that time of year. But this weekend, I'm going to take Jesse Love I'm going to take William Swalich to win this race. I feel like Jesse Love has got the title wrapped up. I feel like he wants to win the race, right? He's got nothing to lose there for the championship wise. But William Swalich really gave him a run for his money there last weekend at Shasta. Minus the issues, I think he's going to beat Jesse Love in this race and take the dub. And I'm going to stick with this as my dark horse. I picked him the last 5 weeks, and he is so damn close. He's finished second the last 2 weeks. He's led races. He's on the verge of winning one, and I've been saying it for all season. He's going to win one before the end of the year. One more chance for this guy. Andres Perez is my dark horse.
For my favorite, Jay chose Swalich, so I chose Love. Same old song and dance there. And then for my dark horse, I got the same old song and dance here as well with Breidinger. Because I'm not a chauvinist.
She is the best female driver we got in NASCAR right now. So, like it or love it or hate it, that's just the facts, man.
I firmly believe that, though.
I 100% believe it too, and the stats and the visual eye tests show it. So, if you're not living under a rock, you would know that. But that's why you got the Dega Boys. We're here to inform you and keep you guys in tune.
Hot takes, baby.
With all that's going on in the racing world. Alrighty, and then Saturday is the Xfinity Series. Drive for the Cure 250 at the Charlotte Roval. This guy, I don't know. I just had a weird feeling. I went back and forth about 5 different drivers, but I'm gonna go with Cole Custer this weekend. He's already won on 2 road courses. We're in the final race of the round of 8. I believe he wins this race, locks himself into the final 4, or no, into the round of 8 because they've still got 3 more rounds. He'll move out of the round of 12 to the round 8. My bad. By winning this race, and I don't know. I'm just going on a whim on that one. I just really have a good feeling about it. And then for my dark horse, I'm going to take Jordan Taylor. He's in that number 11 colleague car. I don't know how well he'll run. We know how world class of a talent he is. maybe he could do something. We've seen Allmendinger do some great things in those colleague cars, and I think Jordan Taylor's on a pretty similar level with him in driving ability. So that's kind of my thought process there.
For my favorite, I'm gonna go with tried and true Allgaier, because he's just battling for the lead every race. I don't know what this man is on. He's probably on some of that World War II Nazi methamphetamines or something, but that dude is just always there, ready to win a race. And then for my dark horse, I'm going with Parker Kligerman, no PK, because he's a great road course driver. He's always there again. You know, he just has bad luck, really. And he's not in the best equipment either. So I just think that, you know, the stars could align this weekend and we could see PK in victory lane for sure.
Yeah, and he's currently only 1 point out from making it to the round of 8. So This is a big weekend for that team. Not just for Parker Kligerman, because this is a huge moment for him, but that team too. That team to make it to the round of 8 would be a huge win for them. So
huge.
They're going to put it all on the line this weekend at the Roval. All right, and then Sunday is the Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I'm taking Verstappen again. We mentioned it before the last Grand Prix. We're like, this could be a good determining factor to see if Verstappen and Red Bull, if they're looking forward to next year. No, they're not. They're still trying to win damn races this year. So Verstappen's going to win. And then my dark horse here, I'm going to take him purely just because of his experience, and I feel like he's going to have one more good performance this year, and I think it's this weekend. I'm going to take Fernando Alonso as my dark horse to get on the podium.
Favorite, pretty obvious. We just have to go with Verstappen here to win the race. And then my dark horse, I'm going to go with Liam Lawson again. I mean, that man has pretty much proven that he can outperform that equipment. It's actually kind of sad he didn't get a seat next year. It really is.
It is.
You know, I really like Yuki Tsunoda, and he has grown so much in his F1 career. And I also really like Daniel Ricciardo, and you know, he's a proven race winner, championship contender. You know, but I'm torn here. Like, if you want Liam Lawson, you got to take away Yuki, or you got to take away Daniel. But, you know, if you don't give Liam that seat, what kind of message are you giving to the rest of the world about drivers coming into F1? I mean, let's be honest here. Alonso still's got a seat. How old is he? He's taking up a seat for a possible next Schumacher. You know, or I'm just saying, like, F1 is a very hard sport to get into, and I don't. I'm at a crossroads. I really wish Liam could get a ride. Yeah, I feel bad for him. Really, I do. But I'm actually a pretty big believer in Lawson right now. I think he's doing great, and he just keep it up, and he's going to be around for a while for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I like Lawson, but that's a good spot to be in if you're a team. I mean, you got 3 really good drivers for 2 seats.
Yeah,
but it's also a bad thing because then you're like, I've got 3 drivers, only 2 available seats. So yeah, it's a tough situation.
Let him duke it out.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Let performance
NASCAR style.
Yeah,
not the performance. No, I want to land blows, man.
Yeah,
let these guys just duke it out.
Who really wants the second ride?
Seat. Hey, put it on ESPN. We'll watch.
Yeah. And then also another thing before we move on to the Cup predictions is this weekend, Verstappen has the opportunity to clinch the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull clinched the owner's title 2 weeks ago. Now Verstappen can clinch the championship in the sprint race, not even the damn Grand Prix, in the sprint race. If that doesn't tell you, and we've still got, 5 races to go after this, he's going to clinch the title that soon. I mean, this is unreal what we're seeing. I mean,
so here's the metric on that, right? So Perez has to finish P1, and Verstappen has to finish P6 to win the championship.
Yeah. Insane.
So he has to finish 7th in order to keep that championship rolling. But Perez has to win.
And then win every race and then hope Verstappen just doesn't finish any races. I mean, it's insane. Like, Verstappen
it's not going to happen.
Verstappen's yeah. I mean, I believe in miracles, but
That's a pretty steep miracle right there. You might need like 3 genie in the bottles right there.
I need to enter the Matrix, or what is it? No. I don't even know. Let's just move on. There's a lot going on in my brain right now. All right. The Bank of America 400 at the Roval for the Cup Series on Sunday. The final race of the round of 12. We're going to decide on our final 8 going into the last 4 races of the season after this weekend. My pick to win, like I said with the Xfinity, I went about 4 or 5 drivers deep to figure out who's going to win this race. But I think it's going to be William Byron. I think Hendrick's going to win this race. I thought about Larson. I really wanted to take him. I'm not taking Chase Elliott, even if the Appalachians paid me to. So I'm going to go Byron. I think Byron wins this race. And then for my dark horse, I'm not taking playoff drivers. Like I said, I've said this many weeks. That's a personal goal of mine. So I don't know. I'm taking Gibbs. I don't know. Gibbs is an exceptional road racer. I think this track is going to suit his driving style phenomenally. And he's aggressive. He's got nothing to lose. He's had a little bit of bad luck recently, so I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So I think this weekend he performs. I think the Toyotas are going to be pretty quick as well. So I think Gibbs could potentially steal one and get his first career win this weekend. How crazy would that be?
That'd be awesome. For my favorite, I've got Reddick, just because of his pure road course driving skills. I don't think, though, that he's going to be the only one to watch. There's going to be a lot of drivers, and we'll go over it with our fantasy, but Reddick's going to be one of them. One of them. And then for my dark horse, I'm not going to share the love here. I'm on the same board as Jay. I'm going Gibbs, because if it's any time to win your first race, it's this weekend with Gibbs. Gibbs, he when he first started racing, he was a go-kart driver, and I actually watched him for a couple of his very first races over at GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville. So that was hilarious. I wish I would have videoed it, because that video would probably have like 2 or 3 million views now. But I mean, let's just talk about a little bit about Chastain driving styles. Like maybe a little bit of Daniel Kvyat torpedo going into turn 1. I mean, absolutely. I thought kids would break their neck by the way their helmets moved, with him running just all gas right into the side of them going into turn 1. That was probably the most remarkable sight I've ever seen in my life, is watching like a 7-year-old kid, his head snap back and forth and side to side, and he got up and walked away. Remarkable. I wonder if that kid's okay today.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, it's also remarkable how much better he's gotten on road course racing, because it was pretty rough at first.
Well, it's a note. I mean, he got his first ever Xfinity Series win on the Daytona Roval. So why not Charlotte? Right. Why not the Charlotte Roval or Cup? Alrighty, let's do fantasy, right? You said there's a lot of good choices, and I agree. So I guess I'll go over my lineup. I've got Chase Elliott, and the only reason I picked him is I don't think he's going to win the race. Not even close. But he is going to score good stage points for me. He is going to get a good result for me. So putting him on there. Unlike what you said about Truex and him potentially not making the playoffs, I think he's going to make it just fine. I think he's going to run top 10 all day. He's going to run top 5. He's going to be competing. Those toys are going to be quick. He's going to score me a lot of points. You can't sleep on McDowell on any road course. I mean, you can't even sleep on McDowell anywhere anymore. I mean, this guy just gets results, man. This guy is a result master this season and last season. I mean, it's unreal. So I can't not take McDowell. I'm going to take Bell after everything I just said about him. He might end up wrecking, but every time he seems to just mess up and wreck, he finds a way to get a top 15 and salvage it. So I'm going to take a chance. Even if he does bad, he's still going to get a top 15 and get me good points. So I'm taking a chance. And then I picked him purely just out of faith, hope, and humanity. I'm throwing a whim at it, man. Please do it for me, Kyle. Come on, Kyle Busch. I want Kyle Busch to run good this weekend. I'm putting him on my fantasy, trying to put that good juju in the air. I want him to get to the round of 8. I want to see him win this race. There we go. That's what I got.
You cursed it.
I did.
You cursed
it.
it.
I Sheldon Creed his ass.
You cursed it. You Sheldon Creed. Yeah, typical. I mean, not typical. Just typical curse. We bring him. Now we're gonna watch the 8 car just ramp the fucking wall in turn 1 and just go off into turn 8 and through the roval itself. He's gonna do a full oval lap.
I want to see him when he wrecks. He goes in reverse. I want to see him try to reverse the roval all the way around with the damaged race car. If he does that, go. Greatest of all time. Top of Mount Rushmore. He's the man.
Yes. All right. So really, here's my theory on Truex. He's either gonna do phenomenal, like best race of his career, or he's gonna choke it. And I'm going to bank on the best race of his career. I don't want to see him out of the playoffs because I have him in my Final Four. So do I have Busch. But I don't know. I'm kind of banking on both sides here, right? So I'm going to choose Truex. I'm going to choose Bell. I'm going to choose Chase Elliott because he's, even though his crew chief can't get a fuel number to save his life, he's still a pretty good road course racer. I agree with you with Michael McDowell. You cannot sleep on him for the... Well, you can't sleep with him either. That'd be gay. But sleep on him for road courses. So Michael McDowell. And then I'm going to go with Reddick, too, because I think he's going to win the race. He's going to have some very, very tough competition. I think all of the Toyotas are going to be stupid fast this weekend. You're going to have a couple Fords. I think Buescher's going to be there. I think, McDowell's going to be there. Maybe even the Ryan Blaney.
Ooh.
He's pretty fast there. I know that's a hot take too, but I there's a couple Fords there, and then Hendrick's going to be fast too. I think that. So 19, 20, 9, 34, 45 is what I got.
Yeah, I mean there's nothing to argue with that lineup. That's a great lineup. I mean, it's coming down to the end. Tom's really kind of whipping my butt here in the fantasy, so hopefully things swing my way here in the last few races. And then for matchups, we got Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. I'm taking Kyle Busch. I'm gonna take that. I'm taking it all the way. Come on, Kyle Busch.
Cooter. Kyle Busch. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain over Kyle Busch because I think Busch is going to have some catastrophic failure. And it is the same old song and dance that is following him from JGR with his failures and BS that's happening to him. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up, Jay. Look, we're going to be watching this race, and Kyle Busch, like I said, he's just going to ramp through turn 1. And we're just going to be sitting there like, yeah, that's Kyle Busch.
Yeah, probably running third.
Yeah, probably. Or he's going to have a brake failure, a rotor's going to blow up, a brake line's going to catch on fire, or something. Something's going to happen to the 8 car. If he wins this race, I mean, hell is frozen over. Honestly.
I agree.
Honestly.
I can't disagree with that. Yeah. All right, and then we have Reddick and Larson. I'm going Reddick for obvious reasons. I mean...
Yep.
Reddick's gonna be fast. He's gonna be fast, man. Oh man.
Yep, I think so too. And I did the 45 over the 5 too.
And then kind of following our theme about our playoff predictions here, we got Bubba versus Keselowski. Keselowski's one we never mentioned as a guy that could be eliminated. You picked Truex, I picked Bell, but those are kind of more unexpected to be eliminated, I guess, however you want to say that. But I think Keselowski's one you can look at to be eliminated here. This is not him on road courses this year has been abysmal. I don't know if you guys remember Coda or Indianapolis. This guy was spinning out every lap, couldn't keep it on the track. Watkins Glen was having troubles off track. He cannot drive a road course. I don't know what happened to him on road courses. He was one of the best in the game there for a while, and he's fallen off a cliff. And I think Bubba has a chip on his shoulder. I think the confidence is oozing out of this man. I think he's going to get it done. He's going to get a better performance than Keselowski, and I think he could sneak his way into the playoffs or into round 8.
With just to add on to that Brad Keselowski thing, the best finish in NASCAR history on a road course involved him. And he did finish second, but the point is that he was still there. Now he's non-existent. I mean,
Where
like
is he?
you said, he's spinning out everywhere. It's a terrible pick for a fantasy. Honestly, it is. I mean, if you have watched any trends throughout the years for road courses, he has trended steep down in finishing order for road courses. It's not his. It's not his forte anymore. Or he's still trying to build RFK, which is that's possible too. But Chris Buescher's doing a lot better than him. Road
Miles.
I mean, it can't be that much equipment, right? So I think this one's obvious. It is the 23 over the 6.
Yeah, then this next one, I think this is obvious too. I know Blaney's won at the Roval before, and this is a matchup between Blaney and Byron. They both are locked into round 8, nothing to lose, nothing to gain really, besides maybe a couple stage wins and maybe the win of the race. But I picked Byron to win the race, and I still believe that he is going to win this race. So I mean, that's why I'm taking him over Blaney. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I do too. I think that there's a lot that has to go right for Blaney to do good this weekend. Hence the hot take I had earlier, but I still think, again, over a trend line that we've seen throughout the year, Byron is just the superior driver at the moment over the 12. And for a fantasy team, again, you'd be crazy not to choose the 24.
Alrighty. Well, there's our fantasy for the week. If you guys want to share your guys in the comments, I'd be really appreciated. We'd like to see what you guys think. Next is our radioactive of the week. We have no shout out this week. Nobody guessed last week's quote. So this week's quote for your chance to be shouted out in episode 38 next week is, and I quote, "Woo! About time we had some luck." You can guess which driver said that. It's pretty ironic, actually. You guys should probably guess this. I mean, the luck this guy's had over the last 3-4 years on any type of speedway and keeping the car grounded. I mean, you guys should be able to guess this one pretty easily. So yeah, guess that one in the post after this podcast. You'll get the shout out in next week's episode. So good luck to everybody. And then the last thing I want to talk about here is the watch party. That vote ended, and the winner for the month of October is Petit Le Mans for IMSA, the World Tech Sports Car Championship season finale, the 10-hour race at Road Atlanta. The top 3, this is crazy. This is going to be an amazing race. The Whelen Action Express Cadillac, the number 6 Porsche Penske, and the number 10 Wayne Taylor Acura. All of them are separated by 5 points, first through third. It's 3 points from Action Express to Porsche, and then 2 more points down to the Acura. This is an insane championship battle. These guys are going to be trying to do the best they possibly can at qualifying, because qualifying rewards points, trying to maintain track position, get the best result they can. It's going to be a race of survival, right? 10 hours. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a fun race. So we will be here. We will not be streaming the full 10-hour race. Sorry about that. YouTube's got restrictions on that, as well as my capability of sitting at this computer for that long. Sorry. But we will be streaming the last 3.5 or so hours of that race live here on YouTube. Or not the race, but we will be live watching the race with you guys. You guys wanted it, and we delivered. And we are super excited because we've done all NASCAR races so far this season. So to get a non-NASCAR race, something that me and Tom really love is IMSA racing. Like we love the sports car racing. And it's been amazing racing this season. We've talked about it so many times. So to be able to watch that and share that with you guys is going to be just a blast. And the championship battle being insane. It's going to be insane. We'll preview that more next week's podcast, the preview for that race. But that is the watch party for the month. Also, we hit 600 subscribers just the other day. We're over that now. I just want to personally thank every single person that's ever clicked on our video, saw it in their timeline feed, maybe didn't click it, but at least saw it, gave us a little bit more of that interaction. Anybody that's came in and subscribed to our channel, I mean, hitting that little red button means the world to us. Turn on the notification bell. Check out all of our videos every day. We got content basically every day. I mean, we got a new video, whether it's a live stream, a video, doesn't matter what it is. There's something coming out just about every single day. We really appreciate you guys coming and watching our content, leaving a comment, liking our videos, helping the algorithms out, sharing it out there with the world. We got some of the greatest racing content on the platform. I'm not even just hyping ourselves up right here. I truly believe that. We've got some great opinions, great topics. We're off the beaten path of most people. Most people don't agree with the stuff we say, but we base all of our stuff pretty dang. I would say we're not biased, right? Like, I wouldn't say we're biased at all. We're pretty unbiased. I mean, we've ragged on our drivers. We've dragged on other people's drivers. Yep. You do something good, we applaud you. You do something bad, we're gonna get on you. I mean, that's just the way it is. We're unbiased here. We judge everything off of the eye test, off of stats, facts, what you say. I mean, it's just, we give you the best and most honest opinions we can give you. So we really appreciate you guys liking this content and showing that you appreciate it and showing out for everything. And also with the iRacing broadcast, I know this is like one of our dreams. One of the reasons we started this channel is we want to do the podcast, share our love for racing, but we've always wanted to do some type of broadcasting and racing, and we're trying to build a route to that professionally. So doing these iRacing broadcasts with really the best iRacers in the business, right? I mean, we have some great times. I mean, go check out our highlight videos. It's just amazing racing.
Yeah. And make sure you guys come and tune in for tomorrow and Thursday as well. We're doing some more racing there. Real quick though, I just want to do a little thing here. I wanted to give a big shout out to one of our channels, not our channels, but one of the channels that we're kind of in collab with, the King of Camo. Actually, last weekend they invited the Dega Boys to come on out and roll with them for the Iraq Veteran 8888 Range Day. So, unfortunately, Jay didn't get to come. I did get to go, and it was a phenomenal experience. You guys can go check out their channel when they upload the videos. I've got a couple. Maybe we'll put them up, or you know, we'll plan something there. But I just wanted to show you, you know, what we got there. So we got us under creator, the Dega Boys, and my name there. So really cool. Thank you to the King of Camo for inviting us out. And I had a blast. We're looking forward to many more with you guys. Maybe do a little bit of collaboration. We met a lot of cool content creators there as well. So maybe some cool news to come out of that in the future. Maybe a little bit more collabs that we might be seeing. But nonetheless, thank you to the King of Camo. Make sure you guys go check out their YouTube channel. They do everything from mild to wild on Cerakoting, Duracoating, painting, and modifications to any firearm that you have. If you guys want to hit them up, they'll do some work for you. Just go check out their channel. Give them a subscribe, a like, and a comment. Tell them the Dega Boys sent you. We really appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Iraq Veteran for putting on that show, because it was awesome. We connected with a lot of people there, so really appreciate that and letting us come out and just shoot. I mean, it was fun. We were blowing stuff up with cannons. I mean, look, we put like 10 pounds of tannerite in a freaking hay bale and they shot it with a 50 cal. That was insane. I mean, I was just sitting there in awe. Every time he shot that thing, it was like the concussion wave going through my face was just like clearing out all my sinuses. It's awesome. America, baby.
It's America, baby. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, King of Camo, for being a collab with our channel. Yeah, like Tom said, go give them a like. Tell them to take a voice at you guys. Tell them they support them out. They're helping us out a ton, so we're trying to help them out a ton too. So, yeah, like Tom said, more iRacing tomorrow. We'll be back. Gen 6 Cup cars at Talladega. We'll be calling it right here. You guys don't want to miss it. I'm telling you, you guys are missing out if you're not tuned in here tomorrow night.
That's going to be a phenomenal race. It's going to be a great race.
Yeah, you'll be on the edge of your seat. You might be sitting down when you start, but you won't be by the end of it. You're definitely going to be on your feet for that one. It's going to be fun. But with that being said, make sure you guys go check out our socials. We got X, Patreon, Facebook, TikTok. Go check all those out. Tom's been putting a lot of work into the TikTok channel, so go check out some of his work over there. It's some good stuff. And leave us a follow, subscribe to all those platforms, share it with your friends, your family, and we will catch you guys tomorrow, and then again next week for episode 38, Full Send Half Mast Podcast. And hopefully you guys enjoy the races this weekend. Have a great night.